The Elder Scrolls 6 is surely one of the most anticipated games that's set to come out. Understandably, fans have been waiting patiently for any information related to the Skyrim follow-up for years now, though Bethesda has been pretty quiet as of late. What we do know is that The Elder Scrolls 6 is in development, and that it will be the next release for Bethesda Game Studios after Starfield comes to Xbox Series X and S. There's been a short teaser trailer as well, which might just hint to the game's setting. Of course, there's still plenty that we don't know about The Elder Scrolls 6. A release date has yet to be revealed. In fact, we don't even know which year Bethesda is aiming for. Elder Scrolls 6 is in the works, and while it'll likely be quite a long time before we see it arrive, it's easily one of the most exciting upcoming Bethesda games in the pipeline. First revealed all the way back in 2018 with a short teaser that showed off the game title, Elder Scrolls 6 is said to still be in pre-production. It's a busy time for the studio, now currently focused on its first new IP in 25 years with Starfield, which is slated to release in 2023. We also know that Bethesda has plans for Fallout 5, which Todd Howard said is set to come after Elder Scrolls 6. The next Elder Scrolls game is confirmed and in production. That is the most important thing to take from this. The fans are hungry for the next installment because it's been over a decade since the last one, the beloved Skyrim. It is one of the best RPGs of all time, and the multitude still adore it. The Elder Scrolls 6 release date is speculative at this point, but based on things we know about Bethesda and the production, we can make an educated guess. It might take quite a while, but the cogs are moving. Judging by what we know now, it will be the biggest, boldest, and most enthusiastic project of the series yet, so it might very well be worth the wait. News came to light in January 2022 that Elder Scrolls 6 may still be in pre-production, according to a Bethesda HR LinkedIn profile, with Howard later confirming it in June 2022. The profile noted that the studio is still in the pre-production phase of the development process for the upcoming Elder Scrolls entry. With the studio's next project Starfield set to come in 2023, it's not so surprising, especially when Todd Howard hinted that we may not see Elder Scrolls 6 release until 2026 at the earliest. There is currently no confirmed Elder Scrolls 6 release date. It might have been officially unveiled, but there is sadly nothing even remotely resembling a release window. In 2016, notorious analyst Michael Pachter optimistically predicted that the Elder Scrolls 6 release date would be in 2017, but unfortunately, he was immediately proven wrong. In 2021, industry insider Tyler McVicker indicated that we shouldn't expect the Elder Scrolls 6 until at least 2026 or 2027. This is largely in part thanks to Starfield, which we know is coming in 2023. Since it's been 4 years, and this project hasn't moved an inch from pre-production, this doesn't look good, especially for those who are impatient for the new Elder Scrolls game. Long story short, we are looking at 2026 at the earliest for a possible Elder Scrolls 6 release date. If you are a die-hard fan of the series, we can recommend some games like Skyrim to try in the meantime. However, we can predict much just by looking at what Bethesda is currently working on. The studio is now in the final stages of creating Starfield, which is a space-themed action RPG. Don't hold your breath for the Elder Scrolls 6 release date. You won't be exploring its dungeons anytime soon. Despite being announced at Bethesda's E3 2018 conference, little more than a logo was revealed, and, more than 4 years later, we still have few solid details about the next Elder Scrolls game. We don't even have a subtitle or a release year. Todd Howard said that the game will be coming after Starfield, the company's next big IP, while Xbox head Phil Spencer has said it won't release until after Fable 4. Given Starfield is set to release in the first half of 2023, and Fable doesn't have a release date yet, the wait for Elder Scrolls 6 is set to be long. Bethesda Game Studios director Todd Howard supported this in a 2021 interview with The Telegraph, stating, "It's good to think of the Elder Scrolls 6 as still being in a design phase, but we're checking the tech. Is this going to handle the things we want to do in that game? Every game will have some new suites of technology. So Elder Scrolls 6 will have some additions onto Creation Engine 2 that game is going to require." In a more recent update, Howard told IGN that the Elder Scrolls 6 is still in pre-production. As such, tentatively expect the Elder Scrolls 6 to release in 2024 at the very earliest, after Bethesda has given Starfield at least a couple of years in the spotlight. Similarly, platforms for the Elder Scrolls 6 haven't been confirmed yet, but, given Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax Media, releases on PC and Xbox Series S and X are almost a certainty. A PS5 release is much less certain, however, as Microsoft may opt to make the new Elder Scrolls game an Xbox exclusive. Similarly, releases on Xbox One and PS4 seem extremely unlikely, as Starfield shows Bethesda's moving on from last-gen hardware. What we do know, however, is that the Elder Scrolls 6 will be available on Xbox Game Pass on day one. a tweet from Jeff Grubb, the author of short stories, novels, and comic books, and has worked on some known RPGs. Grubb worked alongside Ed Greenwood on the setting for the Forgotten Realms and contributed to the campaign setting for Dragonlance. He is also associated, in one way or another, with games from franchises like Magic: The Gathering, Guild Wars, StarCraft, and many more. Grubb has no official ties with Bethesda, but he seems to be Mr. Current Affairs in the gaming industry. In this tweet, he is referring to what Pete Hines, the SVP of Global Marketing and Communications at Bethesda, said about future games being Xbox exclusive. Mr. Hines seems to be mostly talking about PlayStation and Xbox, so he might be referring that only Microsoft's console is getting the games now. However, since he hasn't mentioned PC and Microsoft still invests heavily in Windows, The Elder Scrolls 6 is likely coming to Xbox and PC. Todd Howard, the executive producer and director at Bethesda, has said that it is hard to imagine not bringing the new Elder Scrolls game to multiple platforms. Bethesda also addressed a similar issue with Starfield, when the fans expressed their discontent at the game's PC and Xbox exclusivity. Since the Elder Scrolls 6 release date is quite far, things might change. The developers tweeted this on the game's official account on December 31, 2020. This undoubtedly ruined New Year's Eve for anyone who is not a gamer. Naturally, the fans forgot about the celebration and told their epic tales from the game all night. It was tweeted with a message: "Transcribe the past and map the future," clearly aimed at the new Elder Scrolls game. Also, the positioning of the candles is suspicious to many fans with a sharp eye. One is on Skyrim, the other on a book, and the third one is beyond the borders of Hammerfell to the south, right on its name label. Combined with the Elder Scrolls 6 teaser trailer, everyone assumed that we are headed there in the next Elder Scrolls game. This massive area is also called Volenfell, and a big chunk of it is the well-known Alakar Desert. Hammerfell is home to Redguards, skilled and cunning warriors who took over the region after the Dwemer lost it. Besides the desert, the area has mountains, grasslands, and several cities like Dragonstar, Elinhur, Sentinel, Helgatha, Gillane, and others. However, Hammerfell and High Rock were the setting for the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, so it might be wrong to assume this. Some fans predict that the next Elder Scrolls game might span several provinces across the Empire of Tamriel. We're willing to bet that, like all the other games in the series, the Elder Scrolls 6 will take place on the continent of Tamriel. Previous games have taken us to High Rock, Hammerfell, Morrowind, Cyril, and Skyrim. Valenwood, Elsewhere, and Black Marsh are the biggest places left to explore. However, even though these areas are prime spots for exploration, that's not to say that Bethesda won't return to areas from previous games. There were rumors that the Elder Scrolls 6 could be set in Valenwood, the home of the Bosmer. It's an area of Tamriel that Bethesda hasn't explored much, and that's based on a reported internal Bethesda memo from all the way back in 2014. In this memo, Bethesda employees were reportedly warned against using the terms Fallout Nuka World, Elder Scrolls 6 or Project Greenheart. Though it was initially believed to be a fake, Fallout Nuka World ended up being a big DLC release for Fallout 4. It gave slightly more weight to rumor that Project Greenheart is in fact the codename for the next Elder Scrolls title. The fact that Greenheart is a city in the verdant region of Valenwood made this even more interesting. However, after the brief announcement trailer for Elder Scrolls 6 was released during E3 2018, many fans began to move away from the idea of a Valenwood setting. The landscape shown in the trailer didn't reflect Valenwood all that much. It's hard to tell from the short E3 clip we have of the game. However, since it was shown, general opinion has moved towards the idea that the Elder Scrolls 6 will be set in either Hammerfell or High Rock. Adding credence to the Hammerfell rumor is a post from the official Elder Scrolls Twitter account at the end of 2020 that says, "Transcribe the past and map the future," and shows an image with an unmapped Hammerfell region. There is, however, a chance that this teaser doesn't relate to Elder Scrolls 6 at all. In an interview with Eurogamer, Todd Howard confirmed the team has settled on the location, but he won't tell us where yet. Details are, of course, exceptionally sparse at the moment. All we have are rumors to go off of, which doesn't form the basis of, well, anything really. Obviously, those of us who know the world of Tamriel thanks to Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, and yes, even Elder Scrolls Online, the entire world is a veritable expanse of different lands and settings where the game could be set. We do know one thing for certain: wherever it does end up being set, we can expect to be fulfilling a great many side quests. The most recent report we have on the Elder Scrolls 6 is that it's still in pre-production as of January 2022, with the majority of the studio's resources focused on Starfield. Beyond that, there's some speculation on the Elder Scrolls 6 being associated with the name Redfall. In September 2008, Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax looked to trademark the term Redfall, but it clashed with J. Falconer's series of the same name. Thankfully, everything has been cleared up, as the Elder Scrolls 6 Redfall trademark dispute was resolved in 2019. We're also aware that YouTuber Shirley Curry, more widely known as Skyrim Grandma, will be an NPC in The Elder Scrolls 6. Bethesda revealed the news during The Elder Scrolls 25th anniversary stream after a fan petition racked up 49,322 signatures to make it happen. Regarding other NPCs, there will also possibly be a tribute to an Elder Scrolls fan whose dream it was to appear in Skyrim. There is also an interview between Pete Hines and VGR, which explains exactly why Bethesda announced The Elder Scrolls 6 at such an early stage. "We were honestly a little tired of being asked about Elder Scrolls 6, so there you have it." The reveal doesn't necessarily tell us anything about how far into production the Skyrim sequel is, just that Bethesda is sick to death of fielding the question. In an interview with IGN, Todd Howard confirmed that Fallout 5 will be Bethesda's next project after The Elder Scrolls 6. Yes, Elder Scrolls 6 is in pre-production, and, we're going to be doing Fallout 5 after that. So our slate's pretty full going forward for a while, Howard told the publication. "We have some other projects that we look at from time to time as well. The Elder Scrolls 6 is probably still a few years away yet, but that's not because Bethesda is deliberately dragging its heels." In an interview with IGN, when discussing the gap between Skyrim and its follow-up, Howard said, "Would you plan to have the kind of gap we're having between Skyrim and the follow-up? I can't say that's a good thing. Do I wish I could wave a wand and the game we wanted to make just came out? Absolutely," according to Howard. However, the time felt right for Bethesda to try something new with Starfield, and The Elder Scrolls Online meant that the Elder Scrolls franchise was in a relatively good place. That being said, he added, "Everything takes longer than we would like as well, but we want to make sure that we get it right. Hopefully Elder Scrolls 6, that it's worth that kind of wait, but that it does stand up to the series, as it has been in a really big, impactful way for when it comes out."